Since the towers were virtually identical, the conservation of energy law requires that the standing potential energy and the falling kinetic energy should be roughly the same. Examples like this steel debris ejected upward and outward, followed by a comet trail of dust, clearly illustrate the explosive energy measured in the North Tower implosion. High-power explosives used in a modern computer-controlled demolition produce ejected debris followed by comet tails of pulverized concrete dust. Controlled Demolition Group's website explains how demolition blasters load explosives on several different levels of the building so that the building structure falls down upon itself at multiple points. When everything is planned and executed correctly, the total damage of the explosives and falling building material is sufficient to collapse the structure entirely, so cleanup crews are left with only a pile of rubble. The controlled demolition in Philadelphia obeys the law of increasing entropy. Once the top section begins to lean at a sharp angle, it becomes more disorganized and continues to fall over. However, the South Tower violates the law of increasing entropy and becomes more organized as the top section disintegrates and does not fall over. Characteristic detonations can be seen from another angle.
When you got a cement, concrete, asbestos, and sheetrock building, what's burning? You know, it's a bit distressing to think of that. And there might have been diesel fuel, but diesel fuel doesn't burn till 3,000 degrees. So, where was the fire? I don't understand that. And yet it burned for a month. Every night we come out here, and it's burning and burning a whole month. Something's not right there, you know. Not right at all. I like the guys who go like ground zero. That's the part of the site because it was a nuclear attack, and that could be the only possibility why there was a molten mass at the bottom, that it was molten, because it couldn't be from the fire above. Hey, it's ridiculous. A couple stories burn and hundreds of drop, and it would actually put the fire out from the vacuum. And so what's burning now? What's burning? Like, what did you melt down there?
You know, we heard this sound that sounded like a clap of thunder. Turned around, we were shocked to see that the building was, well, it looked like there was a shock wave ripping through the building, and the windows all busted out, and, you know, it was horrifying. And then, you know, about a second later, the bottom floor caves out, and the building followed after that, and we saw the building crash down all the way to the ground. You know, we were in shock.
Difficulties around the area. New Jersey Transit outbound Hoboken terminal operating on a load-and-go basis, no inbound service, and also out of Newark Penn Station, limited service on the Northeast Corridor and North Jersey coastlines and the Raritan line as well, and limited service from Penn Station in New York into Penn Station in Newark, and no service into the city on New Jersey Transit. Also, New Jersey Transit operating on a load-and-go basis out of New York's Penn Station.
Well, Al, I didn't realize because the other towers are so big, but number 7 is 47 stories.
Explosive energy creates hot dust clouds rising like a volcanic eruption.
By the other two, it was kind of a reddish brown, and it more or less ran east and west. It was a long, thin building, but it had been damaged and it had been on fire for hours, and the smoke just seemed to intensify. But we really couldn't see a lot of damage from this angle, from the north side of the structures. That's why everybody was so surprised when all of a sudden it just fell.
Now, the other thing, too, we presume it had been burning for some time. As you indicated, there was nobody inside, and we hope no danger to anybody when it went down.
Well, that's the thing is that when number 2 went down, you know, I don't think...
The U.S. Geological Survey website provides us with a definition of a pyroclastic flow as a ground-hugging avalanche of hot gas and debris.
Huge buildings that have been here so long would actually just fall, and that's what happened. They just crumbled.
The rising gas chimney is clearly visible in this photo of the North Tower implosion with pyroclastic flows between buildings. The cauliflower shape of the debris clouds is a telltale sign of pyroclastic flows generated by massive explosions typical of volcanic eruptions and controlled demolitions.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Ben. That is the second building that has gone down. It came out like a plume of smoke, like a banana unpeeling, plumes of smoke coming out, and then absolutely nothing. And now where there were two huge buildings, two huge towers, there is now nothing.
A pyroclastic surge can even flow over water as hot gases carry dust created by explosive energy. Here, the South Tower implosion creates a pyroclastic surge moving out over the Hudson River.
The World Trade Center has just crumbled, collapsed in a pile of dust. This approximately less than an hour after it was hit by an aircraft.
The second building completely down.
People starting to run away from the scene, and I turned in time to see what looked like a skyscraper implosion. Looked like it had been done by a demolition crew. The whole thing just collapsing down on itself, and another big, huge plume of gray and white smoke shooting up into the air, and then more of the smoke billowing up the street here.
Once again, our definition of a pyroclastic flow. Hot gases carrying dust and debris flow along the ground with a fluid motion. It requires explosive energy to generate the necessary heat, dust, and debris. Turbulence and fluidization of debris are characteristic.
We are creating images and we're doing things that the mind, the conscious mind, really doesn't want to accept, and it's fascinating.
Marc Loiseau told the American Free Press that he found pools of molten metal in the basements of all 3 World Trade Center towers that collapsed on 9/11/2001. Demolition explosives such as thermite or RDX can produce molten metal. Can your conscious mind accept that?
I think people like implosions because they're frightened. It doesn't make sense, it's illogical, because buildings are there to work in and live in, right? How can they pour to the ground like sand out of a bottle?
This computer simulation of a building implosion illustrates the typical sequence of high-power detonations used to bring down a structure neatly within its own footprint. Key support columns are destroyed in sequence beginning at the center to force the sides to fold inward and not damage neighboring buildings and allow the weight of the structure to do most of the work. The demolition industry term pullet is commonly used to describe a man-made implosion of a structure during demolition.
Later tonight, we expect to hear from President Bush. This was also, that plane was to be used. Difficulties around the area. New Jersey Transit outbound Hoboken terminal operating on a load-and-go basis, no inbound service, and also out of Newark Penn Station, limited service on the Northeast Corridor and North Jersey coastlines.
A PBS documentary, America Rebuilds, interviewed the new World Trade Center leaseholder Larry Silverstein, who appeared to understand the meaning of the term pullet. He had already received an insurance payout for the collapse of 7 World Trade due to fire.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
Difficulties around the area. New Jersey Transit outbound Hoboken terminal operating on a load-and-go basis, no inbound service, and also out of Newark.